Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. I'm your host, Lonnie Jones, and the adventure part is basically just our experiences. And some of those experiences are as mundane as growing up, being married, being a young married couple with a kid, or being a middle-aged couple with grandkids. Some of the experiences will be my adventures as an outdoorsman, a rock climber, a fisherman, a hunter, or my experiences as a police chaplain who's been assigned to a SWAT team for over 30 years. Some of that adventure may even boil down to the idea that there's a belief that I'm a chaotic Jedi. And either way, we'll take the experiences or the adventures and we'll talk about the facts. The facts will lead to concepts, and the concepts lead to application. Basically, it will be anecdotal wisdom. One cautionary word about the facts is we will tell you the facts just as they happened, but sometimes we'll tell you the facts the way we remember them happening, and sometimes we'll tell you the facts the way we've heard other people tell us the way they remember them happening. In any occasion, it's not an attempt to deceive. There'll be a little bit of embellishment, and it's an all good, clean fun and for learning purposes only. Thank you for keeping up with Jones. Introducing the Bible degree with digital ministry. Paul used the marketplace and the synagogue to reach an expanded audience. We have access to the internet and social media. I once heard it said that when McDonald's introduced the drive-through window, they did not change the Big Mac, only how it was delivered. Faulkner University is now offering a new digital ministry track for their Bible degree. Faulkner's degree provides training in understanding and teaching the gospel, alongside training that will allow students to create quality digital content. Opportunities for evangelism in the digital spaces is unlimited, and this is innovative ministry education for our contemporary culture. One of the instructors is a two-time Emmy-winning former ESPN designer. Members of the Church of Christ could be eligible for the full tuition Jack Zorn Scholarship in order to pursue this special area of study. For more information, contact admissions at faulkner.edu. That is admissions at faulkner.edu. Faulkner University is a digital partner with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. TKM Incorporated in Moss, Tennessee is a construction company that specializes in erosion control, seeding, and soil, hydroseeding, hydromulch, minor excavation, and silt fence. They also provide traffic control and construction signs. Their business is keeping people safe, but their passion, their mission, is they wish that all men could be saved. TKM has adopted the nickname the King's Men because as they serve you, they also serve the King. If they could provide any of their services for you, please contact them at 931-243-3958. That is 931-243-3958. Or you can contact them on the net at tkminc2001 at twlakes.net. That is tkminc2001 at twlakes.net. TKM Incorporated is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. Walking in the door, the smell hits you in the face like you've been slapped with a wet blanket. You walk in and the smell, to me, is overwhelming. And I guess if you live in it, you don't notice it, or at least you make peace with it. The smell of marijuana. It's a very unique, wet dog, skunk-like, earthy smell. Come to think of it, the people who say that they see Sasquatch often describe it as seeing Sasquatch as being accompanied by an earthy, skunk-like smell. They've seen Sasquatch, and it sort of smells like marijuana. Coincidence? I think not. Well, I walk through the hall, through the smell, and you can see pictures of Tony Montana, That's Tony Montana in Scarface. That's Montana, not Montoya. One says, "Say hello to my little friend," and the other says, "Hello, you killed my father. Prepare to die." It's the other guy. "Say hello to my little friend," the guy in Scarface. I walked past the posters and I made my way to the conference room. In this particular conference room is a large screen TV, and there's an empty chair. The empty chair is made by a nonprofit company, and the chair is dedicated to Agent Clardy. Along with the big screen TV, there's a marker board. And I've looked at this big screen TV and this marker board and looked at sketches and diagrams and aerial photographs and video footage and Google Street Views of locations that were about to be visited by the Strategic Counter Drug Team and the SWAT team. I have been in this specific conference room many, many, many times. The office used to be somewhere else. They moved the Stack office, this group of interagency guys that deal with drug enforcement in Alabama, and they moved the office, from time to time to different places. For several years, it was in a building that housed a law office. And when the Stack team would invite the SWAT team to make initial entry on a warrant they were going to do, then the SWAT team would assemble in a parking lot across the street from the Stack office. Now, the guys on the SWAT team would show up in their police cars, and they would shed their normal uniforms, and they would put on the black long sleeve ripstop tops. They would don the balaclavas and the armor plating and the helmets in preparation for the briefing. We were there early one afternoon about to do a mid-afternoon or a late evening raid, and there were 10 or 12 police cars and the giant armored truck. Now, we have two armored trucks. One's an old retired Brinks truck. Its name is Marv. Marv stands for the mother of all recreational vehicles. Our new armored vehicle is a Bearcat. And that's basically an armored up F550 chassis, and it's covered with armor plating and side rails you can ride on and a turret at the top and bulletproof glass. And this F550 Bearcat is called Linda. Now, there's some acronym that Linda's supposed to stand for, but it's really just in homage to Big Linda, a mythical figure from the Breacher School in New Mexico and the starstruck secret admirer and devotee to one Larry, the Blade Chills. But that's for another episode. But we're out here in this afternoon, and Marv is parked, and the guys are changing clothes and getting their armor ready. And a rather well-dressed, somewhat portly young gentleman sauntered into the midst of the group, and he just announced, "Just look," he said. "Just look." And he gestured up at the windows. "Just look. I can't get anything done around here when you guys show up and play Magic Mike out here." Well, we looked up, and the second floor windows were lined with females. Female attorneys, paralegals, secretaries. They were standing in the window watching the SWAT guys. And the guy said, "Can't you guys change clothes somewhere else?" Anyway, I've been present with these guys as they prepared to do the thing that these guys do, the dangerous business of kicking in doors and serving warrants. I've been present for many, many of briefings and debriefings and raid plannings. And I've been present in this room with the pictures of Tony Montana and the smell of marijuana in the air. Now, the smell of marijuana is from seized drugs that the Stack team has taken off the street. The marijuana that you smell in the Stack office is not being smoked and never will be smoked because of the job that these guys do. I met in this room, the very same room I'm talking about, and met with the whole team in the aftermath of the shooting that took Billy's life. And today I'm in the conference room. I'm in the conference room of the Strategic Counter Drug Team, and I've got my Bible. Well, technically, I always have my Bible. I've got a Bible, an ESV that I carry in my body armor under the plate in the back. This particular smaller version of the Bible has the names of all the people I've ever worked with as part of the SWAT team while I've been a chaplain. I often go out to my truck and unzip it and pull the Bible out and pray over the list of the names that's in the back of it. I can't remember all the names anymore. It's been 33 years. But today I'm not wearing my armor. I'm not getting ready to go with the guys when they serve a warrant. And I've got a Bible. I've got my study Bible. I've got the Bible that I carry and hold in my hand and read from when I preach. And and when I say we, I mean a collection of police officers, stack agents, a retired FBI guy named Jeff Warren, who is now one of our chaplains. And all of us are sitting around this conference table with pictures of Tony Montana on the wall and the smell of marijuana wafting in the background. And we're studying the Gospel of Matthew. Marijuana and Matthew. You probably don't often get those two things together. And it was surreal, if not a bit odd. And maybe the word I'll use is incongruous. I was with the guys, the SWAT team and the stack team. And I was riding in Linda, and we pulled up on the target house, and we had the lights flashing and the spotlights going, and they used the gigantic ram that can be outfitted on front of the truck, on front of the armored vehicle, and we shoved it through the door. The strike plate on the ram actually has my podcast sticker on it. If you're a bad guy and that sticks through your wall, the first thing you get to see is Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure, and you get to rethink your life choices. Anyway, they stick this ram through the wall, and then they make entry. And again, be clear, I'm not an operator. I'm not and never have been a police officer. I just get to be with these guys when they do some of these things. Well, on this particular night, the radio crackled and somebody on the phone said that, hey, this guy that was in this house cooking fentanyl was cooking this deadly substance in the presence of small children. There are children in the house, the radio said. With permission, I exited out the back of the truck and I approached the house, and an armored man with a machine gun handed me a little girl, a chubby-cheeked, fat-armed, fat-legged little girl, probably not old enough to walk. And I carried her away from the house and into the night, and as I carried her, she began to cry. I took off my Kevlar helmet, and I took off my Nomex balaclava. I took off my mask, and I laid them on a trash can. And when she saw a bald-headed, gray grandpa, she recognized that this was a little different, and she calmed a little bit. I stood in the street with flashing lights in the shadows of armed men with machine guns. And as the lights flashed and their shadows danced, I sang to her the only lullaby I could think of. If Matthew and marijuana are incongruent, try to wrap your mind around the Kevlar lullaby. It was unreal to stand out here in the dark and try to hold this baby against rigid Velcro and molly-looped armor as I sang to her. And I sang to her just like I had just recently sung to my own little 1-year-old Gage. Just a few nights before. The big men in her house were no doubt dark, dangerous, and scary. But out here in the night air at 1 a.m., she was safe. And although she did not feel safe and did not know she was safe, she was indeed safe, and it was incongruous. It may well be one of the most disturbing things I've ever experienced. And I don't mean that bragging. People have seen a lot worse and have endured a lot worse, but in 40-something years as a minister and 33 years as a police chaplain, I'm very well acquainted with the things that people can do to each other and the things that can be done through tragedy or accident or through violence. And I'm standing out here in the dark holding this little girl and singing to her. And at some point, someone, a random stranger to me, but obviously connected to the baby, walked out of the darkness, and while looking at me, with a stare that said I was the lowest, most hated form of organism they'd ever seen. They walked out of the darkness and they took this baby out of my arms and they walked back into the darkness. I've thought about the future of that little girl more than any of the bodies and any of the violence I've ever seen in my career. It's not the way they treated me that upset me. But just thinking about the future of that little girl that bothers me. These people walked out of the dark, and because I was associated with the police officers, in their minds, they were taking her from someone who didn't need or have the right to hold her, and they needed to keep her safe. But in my arms, guarded by those men, she was safe. And they took her from me. And it felt incongruous. Incongruous does not mean incompatible. And maybe I'm even using the wrong word. You keep using this word, and I do not think it means what you think it does. That's Montoya, not Montana, who said that. But I do know that it does not mean mutually exclusive. It just means it doesn't actually fit or line up or match. And it doesn't mean just because it doesn't fit, it doesn't line up, it doesn't match. It doesn't mean it can't be done. It doesn't mean it shouldn't be done. It doesn't mean we can't make a difference. You see, some of the things that are incongruous to people of discipline or people of integrity, they don't really match, but it doesn't mean they can't be done. You can study Matthew, even though there's posters of gangsters on the wall and the smell of marijuana in the air. You can hold a baby to your Kevlar armor and sing lullabies to her, even though she's not yours, but she just needs to feel safe. You can be kind to a person who's mean. You can compliment a person you don't know or even like. You can smile at someone who frowns. You can visit a person or invite a person who is not your friend. You can respect a person you do not agree with. You can respect a person who disagrees with you. You can give to and forgive a person who does not deserve it. You can give to or forgive a person who does not think or believe they deserve it. You can give to or forgive a person whom you do not think or believe deserves it either. You can pray even though you have trouble believing. You can offer an apology when you don't think you were wrong, but understand that another person feels as if they have been wronged. You can behave with courage, even though you feel afraid. And you can continue. You can keep going, even when you feel overwhelmed out of resources and think you should not or cannot carry on. And you can sleep during the storm. You do not have to be brave to be a hero. You do not have to be strong to be great. You do not have to have a title to be a leader. And maybe the word incongruous is not really the word I'm looking for. Maybe it's counterintuitive. Maybe it's counterculture. Maybe it's counter to popular culture or popular thought. Maybe even the term paradoxical is more accurate. But if you can imagine studying Matthew while smelling marijuana, if you can imagine holding a baby and singing lullabies while you're wearing Kevlar, then you can understand the concept that there is the humility of greatness, the power of service, the richness in giving, the investment in sharing, and the absolute power of forgiveness. Because, see, forgiveness is only powerful when something has been done that needs to be forgiven. Forgiveness is only powerful when there is someone who needs to be forgiven. Using the voice of the wizard Gandalf, J.R.R. Tolkien said, "It is the belief that only a great power can hold evil in check. But that is not what I have found. I have found that it is the small things, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Simple acts of kindness and love. Simple acts of kindness and love. Doing battle with great evil. That seems to be incongruous. Try it. See which one fits. See which one wins. Using the tool of shortwave radio, World Christian Broadcasting literally covers the world every day with the gospel. They use 2 large curtain antennas. One is located in Anchor Point, Alaska, and the other in Madagascar. They send out messages that are recorded at their international home in Franklin, Tennessee. They make available 40 hours of broadcast every day. The broadcasts are made in English, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, English for Africa, and Arabic. They would love for your group to visit them. You can bring your ladies group, your youth group, or your men's group. Just give them a call at 615-371-8707, 615-371-8707, or you can go to worldchristian.org, find the Donate Here button, and make a financial contribution to support this work that literally covers the world every day with the gospel. World Christian Broadcasting, in cooperation with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure.